Dear viewers, greetings. Hope you are all doing well. I am Tulip Chaudhary, welcoming you to episode 8 of Hourglass Trails. Since we are going to share some moments together, let us pause and think of something that influences our everyday life, that is internet. Directly or indirectly, we are dependent on it for our basic needs. Many hours a day we live in the virtual world. And on that note, I am going to present you with a book called April, which was written on the internet by two writers who were practically strangers. They never met, never even heard each other's voice. Yet they managed to craft this co-journal of 30 days of a certain April, and the book touches people's lives, small and big, talks about tears and laughter, and tells that no matter where we live, humans are connected like spider's web. Now, dear readers, the writers are Andrew Eagle from Australia and Tulip Chaudhary from Bangladesh. To acknowledge humbly, that is myself. Now, when we find something beautiful, don't we want to share it? April is one of those such books. Like the first crocus you want to share, I want to share this book with you today. Look at this book. Here it is, red. And it has tea and coffee in the middle. And the name is April. April, symbol of spring, revival. Tea, coffee, how many of us can do without something? And the red, color of happiness. What else do you want? What else can we have to keep us cheerful through the whole year? Now, to present me with this book, today I have Mohammad Rahman, Senior Research Fellow at Department of Polymer Science at UMass. He is going to read on behalf of my co-author, Andrew Eagle. And he has kindly agreed to coordinate colors. The cover of April, I am wearing red, and Arif has agreed to wear red. Thank you, Arif, and welcome.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you very much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you.
And so, dear readers, this is what happened. There I was, some years back, a new immigrant to the USA, sort of puzzled and confused. The home left behind, what happened? And more confused, what is yet to come? And one of such usual writing days, I was missing one of my favorite columns back home called Village Float in the newspaper The Daily Star, and the writer was Andrew Eagle. I have been reading his articles for a while. He writes of such beautiful things about a country which has multiple of problems, and we always say it's an ever-ending job. Curiosity is supposed to kill the cat. For me, it brought one back to life. So, Facebook, that debated social media page, I took that to help me out. I believe when one wants to make a good use of an available resources, we can come up with a good result. April was one of such things. I sent a friend request to Andrew Eagle. Google search, Andrew Eagle, Daily Star, Bangladesh, friend request sent. And he accepted.
April 1st, Wednesday. Hi Tulip. No idea where this will lead. Let's enjoy the journey. If I was usual Australian, there would be a mortgage, routine, a family, and blandly seasoned food. I'd be somewhere suburban by 40, surely paying car registration and school fees. If I was typically Bangladeshi, I'd have been married off earlier.
Morning, Andrew. One of those mornings when eyes open but don't see. The backyard's first to rise its crocus face sunward is the flower itself. Crocuses are what my grandfather grew many years ago from seeds sent from England. He had a love for Western flowers. Grandfather chose my name from a flower not found in Bangladesh. He chose tulip.
Meanwhile, there is Massachusetts online, and I am enjoying the backwards forwards with Tulip. I was pleased when she sent a friend request, since for many years I have read her pieces in Bangladeshi newspapers and noted the passion in them.
Already 3 days of April are gone. I am sorting spring and summer wardrobes. You are sipping homemade tea, relaxing in lungi, and I loved you in that image, the lungi-clad writer, which reads of daring honesty. We Bengalis are so wrapped in the British Raj that we tend to show ourselves in formal appearance all the while.
Today I can go take interviews or be a sedentary, shirtless, lungi-clad writer. It's up to me. The newspaper gets its stories, and I help the regional correspondents either online or in person. But how the timeline of each day goes is largely my call. As it is, I can wander away at any moment, not to Cox's Bazar, not to the little Dhaka apartment I haven't seen for 2 months, where I live wholly on my own terms.
People ask me why I chose USA, why I left my birthplace of the 6 annual seasons. In parts, it's simple. I have never believed in borders, neither in the heart nor in the world. Circumstances brought me, family circumstances, true enough. But is it not same thing? God blesses with desires fulfilled, and I prayed for a beautiful land to live in. And God brought me to find cherished liberty in Amherst.
To move or stay, pre-breakfast arrives on a tray, a glass of water, a cup of tea, and a talpam pitha cakes to wake the stomach. I have been in their house for 2 weeks, quite long enough for people simply met in the Buddhist temple. Teknaf is gritty and dry by this month. In the last town on the last peninsula of Bangladesh, I walk on sand. We all walk on sand.
Somehow, I imagined Andrew would understand that if I want neither house nor jewelry, he would know why and not call me impractical. In Teknaf, you are left with one love of people, but here birds beckon.
While the brutal killings of Muslims in Myanmar goes on, April touches history of that country. Coming from Australia, where asylum seekers arriving by boat are met with cruelty and brute force, I could not help but be impressed that in Bangladesh no authority disturbs them, at least most of the time. It hasn't all been good, but Bangladesh has demonstrated much tolerance towards Myanmar's ill-fated Rohingyas, and at the least provided a fair degree of heaven, though the country has its own multitudes to think of.
In this season, I feel strongly like taking flight, floating away aimlessly with new spring, blue sky clouds. We each blend with Mother Nature, and now our April is set to live in the virtual world. But will we ever meet, my friend?
It's common in Bangladesh that generosity tussle. They say that a Bengali with 5 taka in their pocket will spend 10 on a guest, and it's true. And like a stone on a pond, there is a generosity ripple effect in this society. As I leave, the betel seller stops me to present a free betel leaf to chew on.
You remind me that we are small because although I want to know the things you have known and see what you saw, I cannot. Our lives are as cloud patches hovering in distant, changing skies.
Room swarming with mosquitoes. Need to switch apartments. You there? Never remembered the time difference. Only know that you leave yesterday. You must be sleeping. Must be some ungodly hour. Mosquito net is claustrophobic. Hot. Tulip? Friend has a few spare apartments. Offered cheap rent. But something is stopping me, I don't want to be indebted. No obligations.
America is happier. The scenery is different, but it's almost as Bongao, my child home, returned. There is his link though. Sadness struggles to find ground here, or at least cannot reign unchallenged, exactly as if I couldn't walk back then.
They were nothing like Sydney siders. The contrast was sufficiently stark to provoke thought. And what I realized is that individualism was almost absent in village society. Switch that to Sydney, and friends would flick through a small album in all of 2 minutes and say, "So you had a nice trip then." These days, Australians have gained a reputation internationally for being opinionated. In Haiti, I found humility such as I had never seen, and at least theory I get a goal to learn from it.
Bongao was a wilderness worthy of tigers and infested with snakes, my home. And I still know that musky snake smell. We were as watchdogs, alert as not to be bitten, though. As a child, I never entirely left the idea that snakes are friendly in their way.
I have greater concern for two moles. One of my shoulder that's changing shape and might be expanding, another on my thigh which has changed color. Skin cancer is exceedingly common among Australians because of the clear sky sun from the damage done to the skin 30 years before as a child. I found that knot in my stomach again this morning. Soon comes the day. Test results are due.
Laughter, tears. There is a superstition that if one cries, then laughter waits, or vice versa. So when I cried last night, there was still a lingering hope. Maybe laughter will be coming in a way on a new today and say, "To hell with worshipping the wounds." Was that the duty of this evening's English country dancing?
The country that stands out as having largely succeeded in growing rich while maintaining uniqueness is Norway, which before the discovery of oil in the 1960s was one of Europe's poorest countries. I remember as an Australian being shocked at how in the 1990s fast food including McDonald's barely had a foothold in the country. And to some degree, it's a fact that probably still holds, especially outside Oslo, and adding any Mac Salmon burger to a menu is unlikely to alter that. Norwegians haven't forgotten who they are.
Let me tell you about Amherst. It's interesting. Emily Dickinson lived only 10 minutes walk from us. And the second building, Emily Dickinson's brothers, is supposed to be haunted. I'm curious. Perhaps when I am there, I can meet some scary sights. Ooh.
It's true that if you love what you do, then it's not work actually, but I feel guilt if I don't produce, push forward daily. And then, from nowhere, I seem to have allowed myself permission to chill. So I have hooked up with Tapunda, and at first, we have plans to head down the coastal coast to the strip of cabana-style restaurants at Himchari for the afternoon to laze.
Here, in America, life is easier. We don't need to clean floors daily because of frozen cut vegetables, chicken or fish. Cooking gets done in shorter time. Yet, an American day is incomplete without dal bhat, rice and lentils, at least once a day. The house often smells as a curry house. And I asked my friend Natalie if she could detect some spices on me. And she said, yeah, I do. And she said, even when you get into my car.
The moon passes in phases, and so do human lives. But unlike lunar cycles, humans are not guaranteed by orbit or gravity. Movement is assured while passing back to where one begins is not on the agenda. Even in the rare circumstances where the circle almost completes, there will never be exact alignment.
Americans say that. They say about South Asians, tell the Indians, curry is not a perfume. And so when Natalie said that, I cringed. Oh.
For the start of the new year, I would much rather spend time with those friends without occasion, but perhaps that's not the whole of it. Festivals tell us how we should feel, and if I am told to feel joyous, it might work for a few minutes, but inevitably the mind wanders and the thug called analysis takes hold. Why are we happy? Are we really happy? Is it this that happiness is? And why today? Surely it's just another day, an artificial time point hinging on a constructed calendar.
Around the fire sat more of the strangers with shining daggers and long knives. They kept guns lying at their side. Suddenly the night seemed endless. The soothing sound of the cascading falls had vanished in place of the almost audible thud of a fast beating heart. Fear. We waited. Were they planning to kill us all?
I'm finding Nicaragua in it, my disjointed life. Granada is the oldest city in Latin America, an atmospheric town by the lake beneath the Mombaco volcano, with its hollering choir of howler monkeys swinging through the jungle trees and coffee plantations of its slopes. We nearly stepped on a snake. Of an evening, the Nicas bring out rocking chairs onto the footpath and sit in clusters at each front door for adda in Spanish. It's delightful. The breeze rolls in the form of the lake sometimes like natural air conditioning.
The sooner one accepts that being second in line is okay, being wrong is okay, failures are okay, the easier life becomes. Wisdom brought by age was relearned today. I'm still shaking from that experience.
No, the day isn't unlucky, and nor is life short at the moment. Despite the load shedding, the sometimes no water, the mosquitoes, the dust, with every vegetable called, and each broom seller selling brooms passing by, I'm blessed. The rough edge street makes me luckier than an Australian usually is. So much life, 1,001 stories right at the door.
And no, this isn't about America. I shouldn't take consolation from American families. It's cruel. Single parents might be usual here, but they need to be celebrated. Single dads are taking on parenting in ways we once knew were for moms and doing it with enthusiasm. Single moms are juggling work and family and coping. I can marvel at how humans pair with life needs, but find no solace in it.
Money, does it make us happy? If I had a little more, I would be able to travel more often, to visit friends globally and explore still new countries. With more, I might give up the coming blue wall I fought for. And about the future, I would feel more secure. Money is something, and like TV, one can hardly mind it if the financial lot of a high tea improves. It's a good thing.
Life, unpredictable, a mystery. It's been said before. There's got to be a pendulum that swings somewhere between love and hate. Love and hate, that's got to be. People speak about finding the Creator when humans congregate, but what about all those flowers by bees and butterflies and rabbits and weeds and grasses and what not? They talk in their own voices, make eye contact to tell of the giver of life.
Tulip is captured by time in Massachusetts. She is taken with multiple memories merging in a shoe store, places traveling besides and within her. Who says mountains cannot move?
See, says the Spanish lady. The beans are not done. She takes them down in one big pot, points to another. At not bread alone, I cook on my own terms. Smaller ones that while I cook for other smaller ones, I can manage. I look around, but there is nothing that seems to be manageable in size. I can't do it.
I used to say I had several lives, but I stopped talking like that, although I took joy from it. It used to be there were some confounded by my having traveled a bit, having lived here and there, of the flexibility of belonging about anywhere. I never saw any junctions, splits, or necessary choices. There was only completion, the compulsion of barracking for a mediocre team belong to others. I'd never see unless the team is humanity.
It was in Belgrade where I arrived as a tiny boat in an ocean of loneliness. I had left my grandmother who had been a mother. I had left grandfather who had been guide and friend. The support of aunts and uncles who also were gone. I was returned to my parents who were virtual strangers by then.
April 29, Wednesday, last day of writing April. Dear April, I wonder what happens now. On the day after tomorrow, when your newborn sibling is due. How is it going to be, May? Is it simply one more month? An unimportant, artificial time spent hinging on a constructed calendar? Probably.
April 30, Thursday, last day of writing. April journal. It was 15 pages, Andrew's 15 pages mine. Unlike any other novels which would have a beginning and climax and an ending. April has chapters, 30 days, each a climax by itself. Sigh, 11:30 p.m. The spring bird builds its nest, but by summer's end, the chicks are ready to fly, to move or to stay. You ask, and so do I. Will we meet in person, my friend? Thank you, dear viewers, for being here with me. And once again, here is the book. If you want to know what's inside, happiness is for red and April, spring, and you are curious about the words inside, you have got to read it, dig in for the mind. And before I finished, I would like to thank Arif for joining me.
Thank you.
I have met Arif in one of the Bangladeshi events organized by Bangladeshi Students Association.
Right.
He lives here with his wonderful wife, Rafia Sultana, and they are one of those wonderful beings. I am very lucky to have met them. Thank you.
Thank you.
And dear audience, I hope you have enjoyed our reading. Please be ready and for the pictures that will be there after my reading, along with my reading, to present the book. I thank Amherst Media and its amazing team. Special thanks goes to Joe Amor for putting it all this together. Thank you very much. Till we meet again, be hale and hearty. Thank you.